Hey there, good to see you guys make it out here this evening. Since you are here, and no doubt eager to grab hold of our songbook, we'll look at page 401, your All American. My backup singer said he was signing autographs out the door last week. I need to step up my game, so see what I can do about that. Nothing. It's gonna be the same thing. Going to be the same thing. Don't worry, Trey. It's gonna be the same. A different song, but the same singer. You guys ready? Okay. You remember we're gonna have lyrics 401, 401, and there will be lyrics up here. They may or may not agree with lyrics in here. Disclaimer, I have not gone through and watched this. You do whatever you want to do. That's the best thing. Come every soul, my sin or rest, there's mercy with the Lord, and He will surely give you rest by trusting in His word. Only trust Him, only trust Him, only trust Him now. He will save you, He will save you, He will save you now. For Jesus shed His precious blood, rich blessings to bestow. Plunge down into the crimson flood that washes white as snow. Only trust Him, only trust Him, only trust Him now. He will save you, He will save you, He will save you now. Yes, Jesus is the truth, the way that leads you into rest. Believe in Him without delay, and you are fully blessed. Only trust Him, only trust Him, only trust Him now. He will save you, He will save you, He will save you now. Come then and join this holy man, and on to glory go, to dwell in that celestial land where joys immortal flow. Only trust Him, only trust Him, only trust Him now. He will save you, He will save you, He will save you now. Very good. Mr. Trey, would you open us up in prayer, please, sir? You may be seated. Restroom.
Before we get our normal prayer request, Gordon Parker, that's Travis Cheney's son, lives up in Wisconsin. A very, very serious car accident. Brother Grant was telling me as he was driving to pick up Travis, and get into that, that's why they need prayer at this moment. But we're not sure what's going to happen, young man. Already coded twice. Hospital there. He's in very, very serious. He's 17 years old. So that way, Travis's heart. The reason why Travis is not here is because he is misfortune. The truck he was driving decided to leave on the side of the interstate. Brother Grant is meant to go help him. They cannot get it running well enough to off the interstate, off the side of the interstate. They're going to have to get a tow vehicle. So that is Travis is. Also, Brother Grant had, I guess, one of his son's football games that were normally scheduled another day got put on Wednesday, and he is one of the he's a coach. Gotten tagged, you're it. So that's where Grant is at. So Cheney family all around have pulled classic Cheney. Decided to have a lot of issues at the time. They need our prayers. So, especially for Parker, it's the Lord's. Prayer request. Sister. Any other Yes, ma'am. Sir. Yes, or praise. Somber. All of you should be happy. This Wednesday actually had a song leader of sir. Uh, prayer request. Turn to Matthew chapter 17. Remember that there in chapter 16, where Christ asked them, "Who do you say I am?" And Peter said that thou art the Christ. And of course, he goes in there and he starts telling them what's going to happen to him. You remember I told you that, you know, their vision of a Messiah and what they're thinking of and what has been taught to them growing up would be a king coming back to the throne of David like Solomon, bringing its greatness, its glory. And of course, Christ doesn't fit that bill that they're thinking of. Of course, what they're missing and what that symbolism, I guess, would be a good enough word for. Think about this for a moment. Solomon brought greatness, glory, you know, like silver was thought as a common thing, the riches, and those are all materialistic things. Those are things that on the outward side made the country look wealthy, happy. I mean, the Ethiopian queen talked about how happy his servants were. But we saw some underlying problems as far as the taxation and the other burdens that were happening. That's why they revolted on Solomon's son. Christ coming is bringing a better condition as far as that relationship with God, bringing a spiritual wealth a spiritual glory that Solomon never had, and more importantly, none of those negative things that Solomon had to deal with. You know, the hearts of the people were growing away from God, even though it was at their zenith, at their greatest, and at their richest. The hearts of the people were leaving God, and here Christ, being that Messiah, brings the hearts of the people who trust him closer to God. And when Christ does reign on earth, his glory and his majesty, Solomon won't hold a thimble to. And his reign never ends. We get into all that, and the reason why I say it is because if you don't take and think about what they're looking at as far as glory. Solomon's temple type glory, Solomon's reign type glory. So when you see here in chapter 17, verse 1, it says, "And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. His face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him." Look at that glory. That glory that these disciples were expecting from the Messiah, they now see. They have that moment in time that they are seeing the Messiah for who he truly is. And this is important because these men that the Lord has brought up there, they're being witnesses that the Messiah has come, that the prophecies have been fulfilled, and they know what everybody else is thinking. And here the Lord is granting a temporary view for them to see Christ in all his glory as when he reigns here on earth. That kind of glory. And here you have, why do you have Moses there? Moses being the law, being the one that has tried to bring the people to God. And as far as following God, you think about it, when Abraham was alive, it was just him and his immediate sons. Really had no leadership as far as leading people to God until you get to Moses. What about Elijah there? Elijah, back when they were in their, as far as the northern tribes, at their desperate low point, you have these great miracles as far as no rain, then rain. You have as far as the child being brought back from the dead, as far as the Phoenician woman, the widow woman. And you see here, the Lord is, and what God is wanting for his disciples to see is that they're communicating, that focuses towards Christ. Because at this time, if you were to talk to the Jews, and even maybe Jews today, the great person, the great spiritual person as far as a nationwide type of sense would be Moses, the lawgiver. And here you have that focus being put that not only does Christ take care of the law, but all those prophetic, and as far as the healings and all the miracles that were done through Elijah. And you remember what was significant about Elijah? Did he die here on earth? No, he was taken up in a chariot, a fire. All these things appear, and look what happens as far as with there in verse 4. Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. That's a true statement. If thou wilt, let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, one for Elias. We see that he misses the point. Instead of being focused only on Christ, the Messiah, Peter is just like any of the rest of us. get sidetracked by the stuff on the sides. You know, Peter and like the rest of us, he has one of those squirrel moments. You know, squirrel, oh, you know, and he's losing that focus, just like he lost focus when he was walking on the water. Instead of his focus on Christ, you know, he's looking at, oh, we have beautiful, magnificent tabernacles here for each one. Oh, he missed it. And look what happens here in verse 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. Basically, you have God telling Peter, get back on track. Get back on. Get focused again. Get focused on Christ, not these visions of and there's nothing wrong with a tabernacle, a place of worship, is there? No. That wasn't what the purpose of it was here. Because here these people here shortly are going to see Christ suffer and die on the cross. They're going to see that resurrection. God is doing all this to prepare them for that time of them being witnesses and telling and standing before kings and saying, hey, Jesus Christ is the Messiah. That's why this was given to them. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid. They realized that God had spoken to them. And what's also unique is we see two Trinity in one space. See Christ talking to Moses and Elijah are talking to Christ. Now the clouds come over and the voice from heaven, God the Father speaking, all at one time. What a sight. But also what you see is that a true reverent, wow, I can't say that tonight. That reverence that they have as far as when they heard from God, that immediate change of behavior. And I don't think it was an act. I honestly believe, folks, that when we, even in heaven, when we go and we are in the presence of God, the Father, and in his presence, that fear, that reverence will happen to us. It's his presence. To know that you're in the presence of Almighty God will have an effect on you. It won't be casual. Look what happens here in verse 7. And by the way, does Christ get mad at Peter? Does he say that, hey, you idiot? What's going on? No, look how Christ answers and how he responds there in verse 7. And Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. Here we have that. See Christ truly being that mediator between God and man, where he tells them, hey, get up. It's okay. And that is Christ's mission as far as for us to be that mediator between us and God. What happens here? Verse 8, and when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And when they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Here he is giving this thing about him dying and rising from the dead. None of us have seen someone rise from the dead, right? None of us have seen that. And here you have, and I believe Peter and John and all the disciples would say that Jesus Christ is their dear friend. Here you have your dear friend, this person that you have been following for almost 3.5 years now, say that he's going to die and rise from again, and after that, you can tell what you just saw. I can imagine they were going, Okay? But look what happens here. Look at their thought. Because now they're wanting to go back in their mind dealing with the Messiah. And they know there in verse 9 it says, verse 10 it says, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? Now they're playing back in their mind as far as the Messiah and the steps that the scribes have told them that before the Messiah comes, there's someone who's going to prepare the way for him, and they know him as Elias. And why in the world does that be? And look what happens here. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed, or whatever they liked. And likewise shall they also, the Son of Man, suffer of them. Here he has told them, and think about this. A couple of these folks was this man's disciples, and they didn't recognize it. Because we see here, there in verse 13, it says, then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. John the Baptist is Elias. Not literally Elias, not reincarnated, but as far as that example, that herald, John the Baptist is that herald. And he's come, and he has died, and he has done all those mighty things that trying to prepare the people to repent and to be ready for the Lord. Now we're going to get thrown kind of back in the reality of where all the other disciples are. You know, these people have had this mountaintop experience, right? What happens here in verse 14? And when they had come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him, saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed, and for oft times he falleth into the fire and off into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. So here you have this man coming. He doesn't know anything about what happened on the mountaintop. He hadn't seen a glorified Christ. He hadn't seen any of that. The three disciples that were there, they saw it. And they come down in this mix, and you have this man say, Lord, have mercy on my son. Now, I want you to picture in your mind, if you're like in Peter's shoes here for a second, you've seen and you recognize that this man is talking to Messiah, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Son of God. And what does that man ask? He asks for mercy for his son. And how does Christ react? Of course, he hears the story of how his disciples are not able to cure his son, and we'll find out the reason why of that. But we see there, verse 17, and Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. What he gives. Now, that faithless and perverse generation is the generation of these that Messiah, they have not recognized he is among them. Wouldn't that be a terrible thing? You sit there one day, you're at a restaurant, you're eating a meal with some person, and you find out later that person, now, of course, it would be very hard and almost impossible today because we have a TV and all that, but it turned out that that person was a president of the United States, or maybe some president of some country, and here you didn't recognize who they were completely ignorant of it. And I know our present president causes a lot of controversy. I'm looking at the office, all right, not the individual. It'd be like if you went down and sat down and ate, and you saw this man in a wheelchair, and you talked to him, and he's a nice guy, and later on you find out that you just talked to the governor of Texas. He's in a wheelchair, and you say, what? You know, that's that shock and that surprise. Now, that suffer is there is not that God is looking or Christ is looking that he is upset or bothered, but he realizes and he knows his time here on earth is short. And the part that for his disciples is dealing with faith. And this is the problem that we have too. How often we handicap ourselves in our walk with God because we do not have faith. Look what happens in verse 19, and it goes into explain this. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, why could we not cast him out? Why couldn't we get rid of that devil? What was it? What he says there in verse 20. Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye had faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Now, a grain of mustard seed is real small. No, it may not be technically the smallest seed in the world. It's a very small seed. And what he is trying to say is the part and the reason why you were not able to do that is you had doubt. One of those, I was thinking of, by the way, it's always very interesting as far as with my wife. She watches Chinese shows. Ones that are the most entertaining are the ones that they have their kung fu. Of course, by the way, they're real good at hiding the wires when they make the actors fly through the air and do all sorts of silly things. One of them that I remember seeing, there was they had different levels, how strong or how great a martial artist you were. And one of them was the no doubt level. When you get to the no doubt level, there's no problems because you have no doubts. Or at least that's how it's translated in English. I got a chuckle and a humor about it. But in this particular case, that's exactly what God's talking about. A no doubt or fear as far as in your heart. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if you go and say, well, I have no doubt and I'm going to ask for this or that, and it doesn't happen, what usually happens is because you're asking things that God doesn't want, and if you were walking with him, you would know he doesn't want, but he's not going to just answer it and be like a parlor trick. But the disciples here they've been commissioned. They've been told to go into the villages and heal the sick. Have they not? They've been told to go and work these miracles, and here they were not able to work a miracle because they had doubt as far as being able to have faith that they actually do it, that God would actually do it. I've told you folks, and I'm going to remind you again, I'm not a great Bible scripture verse memorization. I'm terrible at that. But up there in Ashland, I had that kid, say kid, he was an older teenage boy. He was probably in elementary school, probably high school, high middle school. And he was one of the other neighbor kids that lived about a block away. And he and his buddy grabbed my Bible and yanked it out. I asked for my Bible back, and they said, well, tell me this verse. They just had opened up the Bible, and I didn't know what to say. I honestly didn't. So I just opened up my mouth and started to speak. And I quoted the verse to him. No, I don't remember the verse and what it was or anything about it. The shock on that kid's face, and he closed it up and handed it right back to me. I mean, he handed it. He didn't toss it. He handed it back to me. All I can tell you at that moment, when I opened up my mouth, I told the Lord, I may make a fool of myself, but, and the Lord did it. The Lord is the one who brought and had the words come out, and to quote the passage, is I not. But what I want you to see is by faith. By the way, for me, a whole bunch of fear. That's what he's talking about here. Look at the Lord's mercy there. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. The Lord says, okay, not mad, I'm not angry yet. It's okay. And while they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him, and the third day he shall be raised again. And they were exceedingly sorry. I mean, you think about this. They have gone from a Messiah like Solomon and the greatness of Solomon being told that their Messiah is going to be killed. I mean, this is completely out of what they're thinking and what their mindset is. And when they were come to Capernaum, they received tribute of money. Came to Peter and said, doth not your master pay tribute? This is the temple tax. This is the tax that was levied on every Jewish person, every Jewish male, as far as the support of the temple. And he said, yes. And when he has come to the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Doth the kings of earth take custom and tribute, their own children or strangers? He's asking him a question. Now, Peter knows he is the Son of God. And he's asking him, if you are the king's son, does a tax man come to you and say, the king would like his money? Yes or no? No, definitely not. And Peter said unto him, of strangers. And Jesus said unto him, then these are the children free. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea and cast a hook and take up a fish, and the first that cometh up, when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money, and that take and give it to them for me and thee. Don't look from the first part of the chapter and that part all the way to what the Lord is giving right here as far as this temple tax. Christ is telling him, what? Free? The Lord doesn't It's like a king. Tax. Doesn't tax you. Now he has them give temple tax so that temple tax collector is not upset. But what he's really showing is that relationship. That's different. A child and a friend are completely different, aren't they? You can have a close and dear friend, but when it's your kid, you have a whole different view of things, don't you? I mean, you may, to a point, do things for a friend, but then there will be a point that you will no more. How dare you ever tell a mama, nope, you can't do that for your kid? Great way of smacked, isn't it? Why? Because it's your flesh and blood. What he's wanting Peter to see, and what he's wanting the disciples is that relationship. God and man are part of the family. You're viewed differently. You're viewed differently than before when you were lost. When you were lost, you were a stranger. With modern law and everything, and God's adopted in. We're in the family. Lord doesn't change. Lord cannot change. That's one of the things about him. So when he says you are made righteous and you are part of his family, that's permanent. And the things that in here, as far as this tax, this fee, for running the kingdom, that's not put on family. Happy folks. I mean, you've just heard right here that in all of eternity, you don't have to worry about being taxed. Good grief. No taxes, folks. Sorry, Joy. Accountants won't be necessary. You won't have to figure out the heavenly taxes. Isn't that a wonderful thought? Take that a step further. The person in the cloud, God the Father, that made them fall down to their faces afraid. I just point out, that family. Everything that's going to go on, we already know as far as his cross and dying on the cross. But what I want you to see here is God is doing around and about his disciples, preparing them. Because a crucifixion, a death on the cross is a very horrific thing, very terrible and terrifying thing. Christ is trying to prepare them. He is trying to inoculate them. He is trying to get them to see that they are a part of that family. They have nothing to fear. That's what I want you to see. If you're part of the family, don't have anything to fear. By the way, I have to work on myself daily. Because just like you, I fear about a bunch of stuff. Right? I'm not standing before you saying, I have no fear, I'm great. No, get me up on top of one of those 11-story buildings, I'm fearful of that side, believe me. But as far as your walk with God, as far as your relationship with God, have no fear. If you're a child of God, you are perfectly safe as far as your relationship with him. great comfort in that. God ain't going to tax you for it. Smile. Lord, thank you for your mercy and grace to us. Lord, I ask that you please change. It seems a lot of times that they go through a lot of different things, and I ask that you bless them greatly. Lord, I ask that you would give the doctors wisdom. There are other folks gotten positive as far as they're free. All of us have family, relatives that are having issues and problems. Lord, I ask that you would help us. Humble, show you our lives and our actions. Thank you for your grace and mercy. Lord, help us as far as dealing. Help it to shrink. Help us to have a relationship that we should have with you. In His name.